So good day everybody and welcome to this video. Today I'm joined by a very special guest, none other than George Farmer, aka the Aquascaper. So do you just want to tell everyone on my channel a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone, my name's George, UK professional aquascaper and absolutely passionate about spreading the word of aquascaping, and that's why I'm here today with Nathan. Thanks for having me on your channel.
It's alright, thanks for coming down. So basically George is going to scape this tank here, which is a Flexi M, and afterwards I'm going to I'm going to scape one as well, based on some inspiration by some of his setups. So be sure to check out his channel because he will also be videoing the process as well. So let's crack on with the video.
It's all about shrimps, simply shrimps.
Okay guys, so the tank itself, Flexi M, it's only small, so really recommend this kind of size aquarium for shrimp only, or snails. And yeah, we're going to set this up for Neocaridina, or the generic term for cherry shrimp. So I've grabbed some shrimp from home, we've transported them, and yeah, we're just basically going to set up a scape perfect for Neocaridina. Now, Neocaridina, they do prefer harder water, so we're going to use tap water here from here at Aqua Depot. And we don't need to use necessarily a soil substrate, so I'm just going to use decorative gravel, some nice moss, make a nice kind of simple scape, but relatively kind of low maintenance and obviously suitable for our shrimp. So first stage is putting our substrate in. Now, I've actually got 3 different types here, and I want to kind of pay a lot of attention to the substrate because we're not going to be planting much into it, so we need to kind of make the substrate look as attractive as possible. So I'm going to use a technique called graded graveling. So we start off with our sort of base layer, which is this inert white quartz. This is called Nordic gravel from Unipack. It's a little bit dusty, as you can see. But we only need a thin layer because, as I say, we're not going to plant into it, or if we do, minimum planting. And if we use too much gravel and no plants, then you can get a build-up of anaerobic bacteria, which can lead to all sorts of problems. So that's our graveling. I'll just keep it there like that for now. Next, we've got a lovely piece of wood. Now this wants to float, so we do need to ensure we put a stone or a rock on top. I spotted this as soon as we came in the shop, so I thought that's pretty much the perfect size, just one piece, and you know, it is lucky to get one piece to fit your needs. Sometimes you might need to use multiple pieces of smaller pieces so you can kind of fit them together, but this actually looks almost like 2 pieces already melded together. There's opportunity to attach kind of rheophyte or epiphyte plants in these nooks and crannies, and there's plenty of surface area to attach moss to as well, so perfect piece of wood. So when you're positioning your hardscape, you want to kind of experiment with it, what looks the most sort of aesthetically pleasing, the most well balanced. So we've got a few options. I think I like that position best. There we go. So hopefully you can see already the aquascape starting to take shape, and that is because we've got a really nice selection of hardscape here at Aqua Depot. Now, sometimes you might be limited by hardscape choice, but don't kind of give up. You might even be able to go and collect your own if you go to the local kind of woods and stuff, but always obviously bear in mind it needs to be prepared appropriately for the aquarium and make sure it's aquarium safe. So that's our wood in. Let's now move on to our stones. So Nathan's finally brought some stones with him. This is called elephant skin stone, I think. Is that right? Yeah. Nathan's already kind of sort of smashed it up into smaller pieces, and actually it makes it a perfect size for this little Flexi. So start off with like the biggest stone, and then I'm looking at the stone and looking at it all axes, looking at the strata, that's these natural lines here, and you can actually use these as a kind of guideline to positioning. Okay, so I've deliberately kind of lined this stone up with this kind of flow of the wood here. Sorry, let's take my watch off. And then moving on to our second stone, using a similar technique, looking at the lines, looking at the strata, making sure they kind of flow with the wood. Okay, working our way down in size. Okay, so that's our wood and stone in place. Now I've done that super quickly, and you know, if I was at home, or if I, if I was a hobbyist with more time, I would, really take my time to balance everything out. But sometimes you can think about it too much almost, so you need to go kind of your instinct. I've done a few of these now, and it kind of, the more you do, the easier it becomes. Some people actually take months doing the hardscape process in their Aquascape, so we haven't got time for that today. But yeah, it hopefully just shows you by choosing the appropriate materials, thinking about its positioning a little bit, you can create something really quite kind of aesthetically appealing really quite quickly and easily. So that's our main kind of stone and wood in place. Now we can work our way down with these graded gravels, which I talked about earlier. So I've got some beautiful Denale Rio Zingo here. So this looks great, just amongst the bigger stones. Perhaps to create this transition from the finer gravel to the bigger rocks. And some of the regular viewers to my channel will have noticed I've been using this technique quite a lot lately, and that's because I just really like it. I think it looks really effective, it's really easy to do, it's not expensive. You can create a really kind of naturalistic looking design really quite easily.
So if you had to choose a favourite type of rock to use yourself, what would it be? If you could do any aquascape style.
I really like mini landscape rock, or Sirius stone. It goes by a few different names. It's very versatile. Even though it's the same type of stone, you can get different kind of families under the same stone. So you can get different kind of colours of it, different textures, and you can kind of, it's kind of a safe bet because normally it's full of character. It's got these like nice veins running through it, nice attractive kind of grey coloration. So yeah, mini landscape rock is probably my favourite. And then I really like Frodo stone, which you've got here. This is actually quite rare in the UK. It's sent over by Adam Pascala from Poland, and I think it's collected in Eastern Europe somewhere. So it is, it's quite special. And Adam hand selected these particular rocks for Aqua Depot especially. So shout out to Adam for that. But we're not using that today, we're using elephant skin stone. And I think it looks great. I'm really happy with that layout already.
Looking good.
So next stage is planting. I've got some just recycled plants apart from the hydrocotyle tripartita, which we've just ripped off an established pot in the hydroponic system behind me. So first thing I'm going to do is attach some Anubias petites. I've grabbed this out of one of the display tanks. There's so much in there, you can't even notice we've taken any. So there's a few techniques you can attach Anubias. You can either tie it on the fishing line, you can tie it on with cotton thread, use cable ties, you can glue it on, or if you're lucky and you've got an appropriate piece of wood with enough kind of area to grip hold of the roots in the rhizome, you can just literally poke it in and it will be wedged in there, and then eventually it will take hold on its own as the roots kind of creep over the wood. And so same again with this Bucophalandra, pop it in there, and it's important we don't bury the rhizome, which is the portion where the leaves are growing from. It's important we don't bury that in the substrate, it needs to be exposed to circulating water. Let's do our moss next. So we've got some Taiwan moss. I've taken this out of my established Aquascape 1200 at home, and I find the best way to attach moss is using super glue. So gel type super glue, put a little blob on where you're going to glue the moss, and then grab a portion of moss and then just gently press. It should stay there. Repeat that process. Try not to glue your fingers together.
So how often would you trim the moss once it starts growing?
Just whatever you want really. To kick it, it does respond well to being trimmed in a healthy environment. It will look nice and fresh and look tidy. You can let it go wild if you want it to. The great thing about using moss a lot in shrimp tanks is that the shrimp keep it clean. We're constantly grazing it for biofilm and algae, etc. So yeah, it's a great addition to any shrimp tank, I would say, moss.
I keep all my shrimp tanks with moss in, so I would highly recommend it as well.
Yeah.
Except for I don't really trim mine, I just let it go wild.
Hey, next, a hydrocotyle tripartita. You can plant this in the substrate or carpet, or you can just tuck it in like I've just done with the Anubias and the Decapelandra. It will soon kind of grip on its own accord. And it will look much tidier once it gets established. It looks a bit untidy at the moment. Put some in here and have it cascading down.
Plant waterfall.
Yeah. So there we go, guys, that's the planting done. How quick was that? Super simple. And hopefully it shows you guys how aquascaping doesn't need to be complicated or expensive. You know, one of these, you can use any kind of nano size aquarium, doesn't have to be a Flexi-M. You know, one piece of nice wood, probably 1 kilo, maybe 2 kilos of nice stone, 1 kilo, maybe 2 of entire, you know, all of the gravel. What I'd recommend you do is, you know, obviously buy a little bit too much, and then if you need to replace it, you can do that, and it doesn't cost you. So we just literally attached all of our plants. We've not got any rooted plants. This is kind of ideal for a kind of shrimp setup. It's going to be super low maintenance. You're not going to have your hands in there all the time. It is really obviously a small space, so you don't necessarily want to be having your hands in there too much. The moss will need a trim occasionally. The fastest grower will no doubt be the hydrocotyle. You could just trim that. The bigger Decapelandra and Anubias, you can leave that for months, and it's just going to kind of grow one new leaf maybe once every 3 or 4 weeks. So, you know, that will last almost a lifetime if you wanted to. That's the hardscaping and the planting complete. Now it's time to fill up with water. Before we do that, we need to put a stone on top to prevent that wood from floating.
So what George is doing behind me now is a rolling water change, was it?
Running water change.
Running water change. So we're basically filling it up at the same time as draining it out, so it stays about the same level, and that's just so the water will get clearer and clearer over time, because we didn't actually pre-wash the gravel, so it's a little bit dusty. This helps overcome that issue. Okay, so we've just finished drip acclimating these shrimp, and it's time to actually add them. As you can see, the scape's pretty much complete. The last thing to do is to add the shrimp, which is what we're doing now. Drip acclimating them is a better way than just floating the bag, just because they're quite sensitive shrimp as a species, so it gets them used to the water temperature and parameters over a longer and slower period of time. Now, I did actually do a previous video on how to drip acclimate shrimp and sensitive fish, so check that out on my channel as well. Let's scoop these little, I was going to say bad boys, but I'm actually scooping up a female right now. There we go. Looks like it's going to be a one at a time job. So we've got about 10 or 12 shrimp that are going in, and these are the Neocaridina red cherry shrimp. They're pretty much the bulletproof of all shrimps out there. Very hardy, easy to keep, great for beginners. So if you're just starting up on shrimp, I highly recommend going for the red cherry shrimp. And they're a classic, you gotta love them. It's like Mary Poppins bag. Just keep getting more and more. So we just need to top up the rest of the water now, and then I'm gonna get some nice close-ups and just let you appreciate the tank, really. I mean, it's looking epic already. so you've seen the final product of this aquascape now. Let us know what you think of it down below. And now it's my turn to have a go at aquascaping a tank under George's guidance as well. So be sure to check that video, which will be the one after this one. So we'll see you in another video, guys. See you later.
It's all about shrimps, simply shrimps. Let's keep things shrimple with simply shrimps. Do 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 do. Yeah!